In 2023, the United Nations played a pivotal role in Liberia, partnering with the government and various stakeholders to foster development and address pressing challenges. Let's delve into the key contributions made by the UN in Liberia throughout the year. Several UN agencies have actively collaborated to address diverse challenges in Liberia. These collaborative efforts across various sectors underscore UN system commitments to addressing multifaceted challenges in Liberia, ranging from health and nutrition to labor rights, child protection, and reproductive health. The UN supports improved the policy and regulatory environment and increased access to essential health, education, protection, justice, and social services, especially for vulnerable populations. The UN led to significant improvements in vaccination coverage and the implementation of crucial health policies and organizational reforms for increased access to essential social services, including effective and affordable justice and legal aid services, enhanced access to food security and sustainable livelihoods, healthcare and educational services, particularly to vulnerable populations, such as people living with disabilities, HIV/AIDS, etc. The school feeding program implemented by WFP and partners has significantly improved educational outcomes for school-going children and enhanced nutritional intakes for poor households that benefited over 70,260 public primary school children in 289 schools in 4 counties: Bonn, Maryland, Montserrado, and Nimba. The impact of the school feeding program extended beyond immediate food assistance by supporting homegrown school feeding initiatives that strengthen the government's capacity to manage hunger solutions. Furthermore, school teachers and out-of-school women were trained on literacy, numeracy, and vegetable production, which substantively addressed the educational, nutritional, and livelihood needs and challenges of people in targeted communities. IFAD provided 79 power tiller sets to 2,813 farmers for the reduction of labor and expansion of cultivated land areas, 25 rice mills and their accessories for value addition, reduction of post-harvest losses, and increased income for rice producers. In addition, a total of 23 mini rice processing centers were constructed with 20 water pump machines for 20 women groups comprising 200 households involved in sustainable vegetable production. In 2023, 88.6 kilometers of feeder roads were rehabilitated in 3 counties, thus boosting food productivity and access to markets by rural farmers. In addition, solar-powered irrigation systems were improved, bolstering agricultural productivity, energy generation, and improved sanitation services at rural health facilities, markets, and communities, which had increased economic empowerment at local levels. Furthermore, the artisanal fishery sector has been improved for fish processing through the construction of FTT technology in Liberia's 2 coastal counties, Grand Bassa and Montserrado. This has empowered 200 women fishmongers with improved facilities to process fish for increased income generation and livelihoods. Furthermore, more than 1,451 farmers, including 975 women, received training on VSLA methodology that resulted in the establishment of 50 VSLA groups that enabled increased access to credit/finance by beneficiaries for diversified livelihoods, investments in agriculture, small business startups, and support their children's education. In addition, the UN in Liberia, with funding from partners, supported technical vocational education and training (TVET) governance and policy to deliver demand-driven and industry-responsive TVET education for the youthful population of Liberia. The UN focused on boosting Liberia's education system through teacher training programs and vocational education initiatives. This effort aimed to equip youth with the skills needed for employment and empower them to contribute to the country's development. The Liberia Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services, LISGIS, was supported to finalize Liberia's first post-war digitized 2022 population and housing census report. The 2022 Population and Housing Census was the first ever digitized census conducted in Liberia, which enabled LISGIS to conduct data collection and post-enumeration activities in real time using smartphones. The digitization of the census resulted in timely analysis and release of provisional results, and the publication of final results as well as thematic reports. The thematic reports revealed key findings on gender, children, adolescents, and youth, people with disabilities, elderly people and special population, migration and urbanization, labor force and employment, agriculture, non-monetary poverty, housing conditions and household facilities, mortality, fertility, population projections, education and literacy, health, and sanitation. In 2023, the Water Supply and Sanitation Policy, WSSP 2023-2027, was developed and validated to create the enabling policy and regulatory environment for water supply governance. Majority of the Liberian population has limited access to basic drinking water, especially in slum communities and rural areas in Liberia. To address water crisis and increase access to safe drinking water, the UN strengthened the capacity of wash sector institutions to deliver quality wash services and to ensure sustainable access to water and sanitation services across the country. Gender equality and women's empowerment were central to the UN's efforts in Liberia. Through various programs and advocacy initiatives, the UN aimed to increase women's participation in politics, address gender-based violence, and promote women's rights. During the 2023 electoral period, women's equal participation in politics and national leadership at all levels of government was enhanced with support from the UN in Liberia in collaboration with its civil society partners, including Messengers of Peace, NAMOT, and Liberia Initiative for Empowerment. More than 6,546 people across 9 counties benefited from comprehensive gender-responsive civic and voter education campaigns, including street theater, community dialogues, and radio talk shows. Building peace and strengthening governance institutions were key priorities for the UN in Liberia. Initiatives such as early warning systems, peace-building activities, and support for legislative reforms contributed to peace-building efforts and governance effectiveness. In addition, 250 community mobilizers received intensive training in peace-building skills, community dialogues, and disseminated gender-responsive and campaign violence extremism (CVE) messages across 9 counties. Furthermore, the National Young Women Political Council was empowered, which enabled it to reach out a wide range of young women and men across the country, particularly first-time voters and community members, on peaceful electoral process and conflict prevention. This initiative significantly enhanced women's access to information and their participation in politics and national leadership. A nationwide dialogue on inclusive political participation and violence against women in elections (VO) brought together over 30,000 women leaders, traditional leaders, chiefs, students, and political party leaders from various regions. This initiative has enhanced the capacity of local actors in addressing violence against women in politics via WP. The capacity of relevant justice and security institutions was strengthened to increase access to survivors of rape/SGBV and other indigents through integrated protection services. The specialized courts in Nimba and Bong were empowered to provide effective gender-responsive survivors of SGBV. Further, the Ministry of Justice was supported to develop the Alternative Dispute Resolutions Act and Prison Reform Act, which will provide the enabling policy and regulatory environment to improve prison services and increase to access to justice for pretrial detainees. The UN supported the government in reforming key laws and strengthening the policy environment, including the Draft Revenue Sharing Bill and Public Financial Management (PFM) Amendment Act to enhance the local government's capacity to generate revenues and resources for economic development and deliver essential social services at the county level. In conclusion, the United Nations made significant contributions to Liberia's development journey in 2023. By partnering with the government and stakeholders, the UN worked tirelessly to address challenges and foster sustainable development. However, much remains to be done, and continued collaboration and support are essential for Liberia's progress. From strengthening health systems to promoting gender equality, the United Nations played a crucial role in shaping Liberia's future in 2023. Together, Let's continue to support initiatives that empower communities and drive positive change.